Hi guys, so in today's video I'm going to be talking about some mistakes that you might be making as a digital artist. Now, I have learned a lot through my whole art journey, and these mistakes are obviously out of my own experiences. Now, you can save yourself a lot of time if you start avoiding these mistakes. So without any further ado, let's just jump right in. The mistake that I see a lot of people making is not using a good drawing tablet. Now, I know a lot of people do digital art on their phones, and that's fine, but if you really want to improve in this field, then you should actually purchase a good tablet. Now, I understand tablets are pretty expensive, but there are a lot of affordable tablets as well out there. And there's this one Wacom One tablet, and I have a complete review of that tablet on my channel, so check that out. That is pretty inexpensive, and there are a lot of tablets which are quite affordable, so you don't really have to purchase iPad or any other expensive Wacom tablets. So I would highly recommend investing a little money in tablets, because yes, you can use your phones to create digital art, but if you really want to be focused in this field, and if you really want to do something great, or if you really want to be successful, you actually need a good drawing tablet for that. Okay guys, so the next mistake is actually related to actual art. Now, I've seen a lot of people make this mistake, and I made this mistake myself, which is not having a clear idea of how I want my artwork to look like. So let's just suppose I want to create a new artwork, but then I have no idea about it. Now, what do I mean by idea? Now, you should have a basic idea first in your mind before you go and look for the reference images. So a basic idea would be, okay, I want the background to be a certain color, I want the subject to be in such a way, or I want to add some glowing elements to my painting. Now, having a rough idea of how you want your artwork to look is actually really helpful while you're looking for reference images, or else you'll be really confused and you'll be just looking at other people's art just for an idea. That's not how it works. If you really want to create an original artwork by yourself, have a basic idea in your mind before you move ahead. And yeah, you might take inspiration from somebody else's work, that's different. But then again, even if you're looking at somebody else's work, you should have an idea with your own art style, or how would you convert that inspiration picture in your own style. I hope that is making sense. Now, this brings me to the next mistake, which is not having good reference images. Now, I'm not talking about only using one reference image. That is not good at all. What is going to happen if you use only one reference image is you're going to just end up making the same artwork. You should have a good idea of how you want the artwork to look like. Now, once you have that, you're going to look for reference images for background, then for the main subject, then for the elements that you want to add on your artwork. Now, I have a video already on how to use reference images on my channel. Do check that video out. That video is really helpful. So what I'm talking about is have good reference images for each and every part of your painting. Now, it can be for the colors that you're going to use, or the background, how you want the background to look like, how you want the main subject to look like, how you want the portrait to look like, and all of that good stuff. So don't just use only one reference image. Next mistake is something that I used to do a lot, and I was unaware and I didn't know what I was doing wrong, and my artwork actually ended up looking trash. So it's actually when you spend a lot of time on perfecting a detail, or just focusing on details too much. Now, it's not a bad thing, especially if you are creating a realistic looking artwork. Focusing on details is a must. But what I'm talking about right here is actually focusing on details initially when you have just started drawing a artwork. Now, what do I mean by that is the first step should always to be actually to create a good base first, so that you can later on focus on the details. Now, let me give you an example. So let's just suppose you are creating a portrait painting and you have a good background for it in your mind, and now you haven't drawn it already, but you have a good idea of how you want the background to look like. But you're just focusing too much on the face or any other detail on the face, and you're not really focused on first creating a good background. So why it is important to actually create everything or have a good base for everything, be it a background or any other element on your artwork. Why it is important? So that when we are painting the skin or when we are actually focusing on detail, we can actually incorporate colors from the background or any other elements that you might have on your artwork. I really hope that is making sense. Just stop focusing on details initially. You can do it later once you are satisfied with all of the elements of your painting, like the background elements, the main subject, or the clothing of the portrait and stuff like that. Just create a good base for that and then just move ahead with the details. Okay guys, the next mistake is over blending. Now I used to do it a lot when I started digital art because I was confused. I didn't know how to use blending tool, I didn't know how to use brushes, but I used to actually blend everything out and it always ended up looking blurry and really soft. And yeah, there was nothing left there on my painting. So because your software has a blending tool, it doesn't mean you have to blend everything out. That's not how it works. I used to think like that and I used to blend everything out. So don't make that mistake. Don't blend everything out. I'd suggest to avoid using blending tool as much as you possibly could. Only use it when you really feel the need to blend something that you think you have messed up and there's no way to fix it up. Then you can use your blending tool, but just avoid using blending tools. Not completely, but yeah, make sure you're not overusing it. The next mistake is not adding texture in your paintings. Now I used to do it a lot. Again, all of these mistakes I've done myself and I used to do it a lot. I used to not add any texture in my paintings, be it a portrait painting, be it anything. Adding texture is really essential. It doesn't really matter what type of artwork you're doing. Even if you don't want your artwork to look realistic, still add some texture to your paintings. Make a good use of textured brushes that your software has, or just create your own texture brush, or you can download a lot of free texture brushes related to the type of artwork that you do. And yeah, I'm very specific about it. A lot of people just do landscapes, a lot of people just do portraits, so there are a lot of texture brushes for each specific category. Okay guys, so the next mistake is not using pressure sensitivity. Now, doesn't matter what tablet you're using. If you're using iPad and Apple Pencil, then it's actually by default. It's actually a default function, so you don't really have to go ahead and set it up. But if you're using some other tablet or any other Wacom tablet or any other drawing tablet, then you'll have to set up pressure sensitivity according to your likings. Now, why it is important is because when we do traditional art, we actually have good control over our pencils and we can actually control the pressure that we are putting onto the paper, and then we are actually able to create good artworks out of it. Pressure sensitivity is really important while you're drawing digitally. Putting pressure, and when you have a full control over pressure, it actually helps in creating good shadows, good highlights, good paintings in general, because a lot of the times when we are shading, we are actually shading on the basis of the pressure that we are putting on to the screen or the paper. So this is really important if you want to create good artworks, good digital artworks. Then this point is actually really important. If you're not already doing it, please do this. This is just going to help you a lot and save you a lot of time. Mistake is not drawing or creating a good atmosphere for your painting. Now, what do I mean by atmosphere is basically the area around your main subject. Now, it can be the background, it can be anything, it can be something on the foreground, or it can be any other element. Even if you want to create a good solid background, you're not actually looking for creating a good nice landscape looking background, it's fine. Even if you are creating a solid background, you actually have to incorporate colors from the background on the main subject and then onto some elements that you have in your painting. I hope this is making sense. By atmosphere, I mean the whole lighting and the light source of the painting, how light is hitting onto the main subject and stuff like that. Now that is what atmosphere is. And yeah, now this brings me to the next mistake that I used to do a lot, which is not matching the main subject to the background or to the atmosphere. Let us suppose we have a good atmosphere, it's like a sunsetty atmosphere in the painting, and then on the subject it doesn't actually look like that the sun is setting. You know what I mean? That like there's no light hitting on the face, there's no light hitting the hair, there's no light hitting the clothes of the subject or stuff like that. Now the next mistake is kind of similar, which is not starting with good solid base. Now the reason why it is important to start with a good solid base and just have a good colored structure. Now I'm talking about colored structure, not the rough sketch that you draw before even starting. The colored structure actually gives you an idea how to go about painting the skin, how to go about painting the clothes and stuff like that. Because if you're just going to start off with the face, let's just suppose you're painting a portrait and you're just starting off with the face and you didn't add color to any of the parts or any of the elements or objects that you have in the painting, you just are doing the face, you're just going to lose control over the colors, as in you're just going to completely forget about the colors of the atmosphere, the background, the elements that you have, and you're not going to incorporate it on the skin, which is really important to do if you really want to make the whole artwork look a lot more realistic. So starting with a solid base gives you a good idea on colors and how to use colors for each and every object and part of your painting. Now the last mistake is not really related to any tool or any software or any technique. It's actually psychological mistake, I should say. I don't know. So the last mistake is comparing your artwork with somebody else's. Now this mistake is actually gonna make you go crazy, because if you're constantly comparing yourself with somebody else, you're just gonna make your artwork look something else basically, which is not yours, if that makes any sense. So I used to do it a lot. I used to compare myself and my artworks to others, and I used to make changes to my artwork based on that, because I thought that my artwork are not up to the mark. So I used to actually make changes in them according to what I saw on Instagram or any other place or any other art platform. I used to make changes in my artwork and they didn't look original or they didn't look good at all, to me at least, because art is something which flows through you, and you should actually appreciate the fact that you have this talent in your hands and you're blessed with this talent. You should appreciate it, and yeah, you can take inspiration from other people's art, but don't just make their art your own art. Be your own artist and just let your ideas flow through you without comparing yourself with somebody else. Just create your own artwork, even if your artwork is not up to the mark because you're a beginner. That might be the case, but don't worry about it. Keep practicing, keep refining your work slowly, and just don't compare yourself. It actually plays with your mind a lot, and it actually slows your growth as an artist. And this is something I've experienced myself in my art journey, and now that I've stopped comparing myself and I've really started appreciating my artwork, I actually see changes in the whole results that I get after creating an artwork, and I'm really liking those, and I'm really not comparing myself with anybody else. So yeah, don't compare yourself. Keep practicing, and whatever I told you in this video, just avoid those mistakes. You're gonna save yourself a lot of time. And yes, if you're a beginner and you're just starting off with digital art, I have a lot of tutorials on digital art, and if you're a beginner now today, you're gonna be good at digital art after a week if you watch my videos. Yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you did, please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. It supports my channel, and also to subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Also to follow me on Instagram. I really want to grow my Instagram, and yeah, it'll mean a lot to me if you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Also, if you do create something out of my tutorials, Do not forget to tag me on Instagram. I actually go through each and every one of you who tags me, and I actually appreciate that you guys tag me and you guys follow my tutorials. I really appreciate that. So yeah, other than that, I will see you guys the next time.